Guys, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I decided I did not want to review this fragrance because all along my travels I smelled it and I was completely unimpressed with the latest Frederic Malle fragrance, Uncut Gem. But many of you in comments and messages asked me to review it, so what did I do? I bought a bottle. Well, first of all, it's 305 euros in France, where I bought it from, in Paris. It's $420 in the States. I'm not in the States right now, I'm in France. And I decided to shoot this review for Uncut Gem by Frederic Malle. If you're curious to learn about it, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about Frederic Malle's latest fragrance, Uncut Gem. Third fragrance, I believe, created by Maurice Roucel. He did Musk Ravageur, of course, which is fantastic fragrance. He did, drawing a blank with the other fragrance, which is not that popular. Is it Don de Bras? Is that how you say it? Don de Bras. I think that's how you say it. So, yeah, this one actually... I was very excited for it, really interested in it. I love Musk Ravageur, and I smelled it for the first time in France, and I was like, what's the big deal about this one? I was completely let down by that first smell. Then I did another smell, because I kept going back to some stores, and it was at the stores, and I was like, wow, really? This fragrance is nothing to rave about. So it kept happening. I did it 4 times. I did it at multiple different stores. I went to the Frederic Malle store. I went to Printemps. I went to Le Bon Marché. And there might have even been another store, I can't remember. Each time I was let down, and then comments came in and you guys were saying, please review it. Are you going to review it even though you don't like it? Yada yada yada. So here I am reviewing it. So Frederic Malle's Uncut Gem is a 2022 launch, created by Perfumer Maurice Roucel. I mentioned the price already. It's 100 ml for $420. There are other sizes. I'm doing the 100 ml because that's what I bought. And as I said, I paid 305 euros in Paris and France. So it is more expensive in the States. It's $420 for this. This is not even worth $420. Absolutely not. I would call this a woody musky, woody floral musk, citrus woody, woody aromatic. It's all of these different styles. Features notes of bergamot, ginger, Angelica root, nutmeg, magnolia, Cistus labdanum, frankincense, Ambrocenide crystal, and musk. So first of all, I think both of the fragrances that Maurice Roucel has created for Frederic Malle are musky fragrances. They feature musk. Musk Ravageur is all about musk. Fantastic fragrance. And if you don't know about Musk Ravageur, you should definitely go catch my videos on Frederic Malle talking about Musk Ravageur. And then of course Don de Bras is also a musky fragrance. This one is a musky fragrance as well, but for me it's more about woods and aromatics. It's very earthy experience here. So as I said, I'm not a fan of this particular fragrance. It's nice to have it. It would be great to have it for my clients who come into the studio to sample fragrances when they pay me by the hour to do it. But this is not a fragrance I'm going to be featuring in videos. So when you first spray the fragrance, it starts off citrusy and of course spicy as well. And to me, this is more of fresh spices all the way throughout the top and the heart notes. And then finally it does warm up in the base notes and becomes a little ambery, but it's kind of a mixture of freshness and of course warmth in the dry down. So the dry down and the warmth happens much later, and for me it's not necessarily a very warm fragrance. You know, it does get ambery in the dry down because it does have that Cistus labdanum, but for me it's more of a fresh experience, not necessarily a warm experience. For me, the only warm notes in here, well, the Ambrocenide I guess is kind of warm. Musk can be warm, but to me this is more of a fresh musk rather than a warm musk. And then of course the only other note that would come off warm is the Cistus labdanum with a little bit of the nutmeg. But to me, as I said, this is not a very warm fragrance. There is that kind of vegetal experience here as well. The Angelica root creates a kind of a musky, powdery, vegetal touch. For me, whenever I see Angelica root, it does have this always vegetal experience. There's also a greenness that goes along with it, sort of kind of reminding me of a light version of galbanum or galbanum. Not necessarily identical, because there's this bitter, rooty, vegetal touch with Angelica root, but when you compare it to galbanum, kind of like it's the lighter version of it, not so green experience. So that's definitely here in Uncut Gem. So when you're wearing it here, there's a kind of light reminder of a few other Frederic Malle masculine fragrances, and if I didn't mention it, this is a male targeted release, and I believe from what I read, this is something that Maurice Roucel enjoys as a man's cologne type of a fragrance, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is definitely that kind of a fragrance. It's definitely very masculine and sort of kind of going into the direction of French Lover. I feel like there's kind of sort of similarities with this particular fragrance, and because of that, I feel like it's already been there, done that kind of a thing. It's an unnecessary kind of a release from Frederic Malle. But then again, I think the way that Frederic Malle works is they give carte blanche to the perfumers, and they create whatever they want. I just don't think this is worth it in this collection. So just when I first discovered Frederic Malle in 2012, that's when I first discovered Frederic Malle with Portrait of a Lady. It was a love at first sniff kind of a fragrance. I felt like they were doing really, really unique things. And now, I discovered him 10 years ago with Portrait of a Lady. Now 10 years later, I feel like some designers are doing some unique things with their designer fragrances, where we kind of go back to Frederic Malle, who is known as cutting edge and things like that, very niche and things like that. We've got a very designer type of a release here. I've smelled fragrances like this, a ton of them, and that's why I'm kind of bored of this particular fragrance. I wish that what we were given as consumers was something very, very unique that would go, wow, this is another great release. But sadly, Uncut Gem for me is one of the most boring fragrances that Frederic Malle has released as of late. I was very happy with Synthetic Jungle, loved it to death, love that fragrance, but here it's the kind of notes that make it kind of a very boring experience. Boring wearing experience. And then also it's targeted male or male targeted. I feel like a woman can totally pull this one off. And I feel like this is a redundant release in the Frederic Malle catalog of fragrances. This is a fragrance house that I absolutely love. I love this house. I still love fragrances like Portrait of a Lady, Musk Ravageur, which is also Maurice Roucel creation, of course the Moon and the Night, and many others. I feel like this is definitely a letdown. But I don't know what you guys think about this one. I know I communicated with several of you who were asking me to review this, and I mentioned that I'm not going to review it because it's a boring fragrance, and some of you said maybe you should just review it, blah blah blah. So here it is, I am. But if you are someone that is enjoying this particular fragrance, can you let me know what it is about this fragrance that you enjoy? Do you enjoy the $420 price tag of this fragrance? This is really expensive, so freaking expensive. I don't think it's worth it. For me, I feel like this fragrance belongs into a collection of fragrances by something like Hermes or Cartier. I don't know why I'm visualizing these two designer brands, because the fragrance is very designer to me. It's not anything that it belongs in a Frederic Malle collection of fragrances next to something like Portrait of a Lady or the Moon or the Night and Musk Ravageur and countless other excellent releases from this house. But you let me know if you are a fan of Uncut Gem. Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? You're wearing it and you're really, really loving it, and you're okay with the $420 price tag. As I'm comparing it to prices here, also 305 euros in France where I bought this. I also get 12% cash back for my taxes, because at the airport I do that. So this, to me, the 305 euros includes the tax, so I'll kind of get back about what, $30 back on the tax approximately, so which is also a great thing, and it actually lowers the price for me even further. And the fact that the dollar and the euro are so close to each other, I kind of scored buying this. But $420, that is a suggested retail price without tax, so you're gonna also pay about $40 tax on this particular fragrance in the States, which is going to be turning out to be about 460 bucks. I don't think this fragrance is worth it. Absolutely not. Not at all. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this particular fragrance. What are your thoughts on Frederic Malle's Uncut Gem? Are you happy with it? Are you disappointed in it? Were you expecting something completely different? Do let me know. I do also want to mention, I do love the name. I really, really, really love the name. It's just, I don't think it suits the fragrance whatsoever. First of all, it's not a gem fragrance. Not whatsoever. It's not a gem. I mean, I wouldn't say this fragrance is completely a letdown. If this was, as I said, bottled in a Hermes or a Cartier bottle, I'd be all over it for, you know, suggested retail $120. But for me, it's a complete letdown because it's in a Frederic Malle bottle. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Frederic Malle's Uncut Gem. What are your thoughts on it? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. And if you absolutely love it, please let me know. I'd like to hear yays and nays on comments. Anyway, have a good one. Bye-bye.